On a quiet morning in August 1976, the world came dangerously close to another war. But this time, the reason was not an invasion, not a missile, and not a military attack. The reason was a tree. A single poplar tree standing in one of the most heavily armed places on Earth triggered a crisis so serious that thousands of soldiers, fighter jets, helicopters, warships, and nuclear-capable bombers were prepared for battle. This is the unbelievable true story of Operation Paul Bunyan. The day America sent an army to cut down a tree. The most dangerous border in the world. After the Korean War ended in 1953, the Korean peninsula was divided into two countries, North Korea and South Korea. Between them was a narrow strip of land called the Korean Demilitarized Zone, or DMZ. The name sounded peaceful, but the reality was completely different. The DMZ became one of the most dangerous borders on Earth. On one side stood North Korean soldiers. On the other side stood South Korean and United Nations command forces, including American troops. They were separated by only a short distance, watching each other every day. Every movement was monitored. Every decision carried risk. Because everyone knew one thing. A single mistake could start a war. The tree that caused a crisis. Inside the DMZ was a place called the Joint Security Area, where soldiers from both sides stood face to face. Near one of the observation posts grew a large poplar tree. The tree was not valuable. It was not a military target. It was simply a tree. But its branches had grown so large that they blocked the view of United Nations soldiers. For soldiers guarding one of the world's most dangerous borders, visibility was everything. They needed to see what was happening around them. So on August 18, 1976, American and South Korean soldiers entered the area with workers to cut some branches from the tree. It was supposed to be a simple maintenance job. But nobody knew that this ordinary task would become one of the most dangerous moments of the Cold War. The axe murder incident. Among the American officers leading the group were Captain Arthur Boniface and First Lieutenant Mark Barrett. The soldiers began cutting the branches while North Korean guards watched nearby. At first, nothing happened. Then a North Korean officer arrived and ordered them to stop. The American soldiers refused because they were carrying out an approved operation. The situation became tense. The argument grew louder. And suddenly, the North Korean soldiers attacked. They grabbed the axes being used by the workers and turned them into weapons. Within seconds, the peaceful tree-cutting mission became a deadly confrontation. Captain Arthur Boniface was killed. Lieutenant Mark Barrett suffered serious injuries and later died. The world was shocked. 2 American soldiers had been killed over a tree. But the United States now faced a dangerous decision. How would it respond? A message to North Korea. America had 2 choices. Start a military conflict. Or show strength without starting a war. The decision was made. The tree had to come down. Not trimmed. Not damaged. Completely removed. The mission was given a powerful name. Operation Paul Bunyan. The name came from the legendary American lumberjack known for his incredible strength. And the operation matched the name. Because this was not going to be an ordinary tree-cutting mission. The massive military operation. On August 21, 1976, Operation Paul Bunyan began. American and South Korean forces entered the Joint Security Area once again. But this time, they came prepared. Engineers carried chainsaws to cut down the tree. Around them were hundreds of soldiers providing protection. Above them flew military helicopters and fighter aircraft. Nearby, powerful bombers were ready. Naval forces were positioned in the region. The United States wanted North Korea to understand one message. The tree would be removed, and any attack would receive a massive response. The tension was extreme. Everyone knew that one gunshot could change history forever. The tree falls. As the operation began, American engineers moved toward the poplar tree. North Korean soldiers watched closely from nearby. The chainsaw started. The sound echoed across the DMZ. For several minutes, nobody moved. Nobody fired. The soldiers completed their mission. The tree that had created an international crisis slowly fell to the ground. In less than an hour, the operation was finished. The most heavily protected tree-cutting mission in history was complete. And the world had avoided another war. The aftermath. After Operation Paul Bunyan, tensions between the two sides slowly decreased. North Korea later expressed regret over the deaths of the American officers. The tree was gone. But the memory remained. A simple tree had exposed how fragile peace was during the Cold War. It showed that in a place filled with weapons and enemies, even a small event could create a global crisis.